Hello, dear students, welcome to e-learning. This presentation is for class 9th, and as you can see onto the screen, the title of the topic, we have natural vegetation and wildlife in India. Before coming to the topic and elaborating on it, we need to understand a few key terms. And those key terms and key concepts are going to help us all through the chapter. The very first key term that you would have seen in the title is the natural vegetation. It comprises of two terms. One is vegetation and second is natural. The first term that I would like to elaborate on here is vegetation. Dear children, you know that plants, trees, grasses, weeds, all of them are plant species? Of course. And those plant species we simply refer to as vegetation. But as you can see onto the screen, there is another term attached to it, that is natural. So these plant species grow naturally. But remember, all the plant species do not grow naturally. We have a group of plant species which grow naturally, and we do not support such plant species. They grow in the wild, they grow in the nature. And such plant species which grow in the forests, such as temperate forests, such as equatorial rainforests, such as wet temperate forests and dry temperate forests. All those plant species, be them the big trees or the grasses or the weeds or the bushes or the herbs, all of them share one thing in common, that is, they grow naturally. All such plant species which grow in association with one another in a particular environment framework, and such plant species which grow without the support of mankind, and such plant species which are not intervened by man for their support and for their development, we call them as natural vegetation. That means natural vegetation involves such plant species which grow naturally, which grow in a particular environmental framework, and having very minimal intervention on part of mankind. But it is very important to note, sir, that all plant species do not grow naturally. There are plant species such as a rose bush in our kitchen garden, such as the paddy plants, such as the apple trees, and so on. Such plant species which humans support, such plant species which man has selected, such plant species to which we apply fertilizers, such plant species to which we supply water, and we help their growth, we help their development, we help their production, we use different types of medicine for preventing them from disease. Such plant species we have selected from the nature. And those plant species which we have selected from the nature, why should we select them? The basic reason is that we want a benefit from such plant species. The basic reason is that we want to draw some purpose from such plant species. We have selected them from nature, and such plant species are supported by mankind at various stages of development. So dear learners, those plant species which humans have selected from nature and which humans grow for their own use and benefit, we call them as crops, or we call them as domesticated plant species. These plant species are supported by mankind at various stages of their development. But remember, to understand these plant species in totality, we need to coin up a new term, because here we have one group of plant species which grow naturally, which are not supported by mankind, and we have another group of plant species which do not grow naturally, though they have been selected from nature, but their growth, their development is supported by man. If we add up these two groups of plant species together, if we add up these two plant species, we are going to coin a new term. Together we call them as flora. So flora includes not only the plant species which grow in the nature without human intervention, but also the plant species that humans have selected and humans grow and humans support. So if we are going to define flora, we need to understand that if we select a geographical area, and in that geographical area we have plant species which grow naturally as well as the plant species which humans grow, we describe them as flora. And if we select the plant species of a particular period of time, both whether they are naturally growing or they are grown by man, once again we describe them as flora. So flora can be defined as all plant species of a geographical area or period of time. But when we take them together, if we separate them, they will become natural vegetation and they will become crops. But if we refer to them together, they are more than that. That is their flora. Next important key concept that we need to understand is the animal species. Animal species are very important to understand. You see on the screen and identify a very common characteristic of these animal species. See, these animal species that you can see on the screen, they live in their natural habitats where there is very minimal support from mankind or no support at all. So these animal species which live in their natural habitats, which are not supported by mankind for their growth, which are not supported by mankind for their reproduction, which are not supported by mankind for their survival, we call them as by a different name. One, that these animal species, they live in their natural habitats. Second, such animal species are not supported by humans for their growth and development. So we call them as wildlife. So wildlife includes those animal species, one, which live in their natural habitats, second, to whom we have not been supporting for different levels of development. But here another important thing that we need to understand, that it is not all the animal species that live in the wild. There are certain animal species such as horses in the farms, such as cattle at home, such as sheep in the farms. These animal species, no doubt, they also have originated in the nature, but man has tamed them over a period of time, and man has selected them for his purpose, and man has selected them to draw different benefits from all these animal species, and man has been supporting their growth, their development, their reproduction. They cannot be described as wildlife. They cannot be described as the wild animals. So these are the animal species that man has tamed from the natural environment, or man has tamed for his use and benefit. So animal species which have been tamed by man for their own purpose and benefit, we refer to them as the pets or domesticated animals. So such animals require our support, such animals have been supported by mankind. But what about the wildlife and the pets taken together? Because it is not only the wildlife that belongs to a geographical area. We have the animal species tamed by man, they also belong to that very geographical area. Similarly, we do not have only the wildlife that belong to a particular period of time. We do not have only the pets that belong to a particular period of time. So we have both of them at a time belonging to a particular geographical area or a particular period of time. If we add them up together with reference to a geographical area or a period of time, we have a new term to coin on, and that term is fauna. So if we are going to define term fauna, it is not only wildlife, it is not only our pets, it is both of them with reference to a geographical area and a period of time. So fauna can be defined as all animal species of a geographical area or a period of time. When we refer to them together, so we call them as fauna. A very important key concept that we need to clear after natural vegetation and wildlife, after crops and the domesticated animals, we need to come up with a few important key concepts that we need to clear. If we see natural vegetation and crops, they give flora, and wildlife and pets, they give fauna. If we add up this fauna and flora, they will give us a new term, a new concept to understand, a new concept to explore. That means if we add up natural vegetation, is plant species growing in the wild without our support, and crops, that's plant species which humans have been supporting, and wildlife, animal species which live in their natural habitats, and pets or the animal species that man has tamed for his use. If we join all four together, if we add them up, the new concept that comes to be explored is biodiversity. So biodiversity includes not only natural vegetation but as well as crops, not only wildlife but as well as pets. That is both fauna and flora. Here another important thing that we need to understand is why biodiversity and what are other important aspects and dimensions of biodiversity. Why not any other type of diversity? We need to remember that plant species are interrelated, animal species are as well interrelated, and both these plant species and animal species, they are also interdependent, and they have a wide range. They have different sizes, they have different shapes, they have different functions, they have different characteristics. If we take example of plant species, all plant species are not of one size or of one shape or of one function or of one mode of nutrition or of one mode of production. They vary. They are diverse in terms of these characteristics. Same is true for animals. Animal species also have a range. The range is also very wide. They are different in terms of their size, different in terms of their function, different in terms of their reproduction mode, different in terms of their nutrition. So they also have a range. I will give an example. If we take a rock, a sand particle is a rock, a pebble is a rock, a stone is a rock itself is a rock, a mount is a rock, a mountain is a rock, a mountain chain is a rock. all of them are rocks, but they are of different sizes, different functions. So this is the range of a non-living thing. Similarly, if you take example of vehicles, a cycle is a vehicle, a motorbike is a vehicle, auto rickshaw is a vehicle, car is a vehicle, bus is a vehicle, aeroplane, ship, train, all of them are vehicles. But they have different sizes, different characteristics, different functions. It is a range, a diversity of the vehicles. But once again, it is the diversity of the dead or diversity of the non-living things. But here, the range or the diversity of the living things is more important. We have thereby coined the term not only diversity but biodiversity. It is the wide range of living organisms, not of the dead things or non-living things. That is why we have coined up the term biodiversity. So let's move on and see this wide range of plant and animal species found in a geographical area as a whole is referred to as the biodiversity. Did you understand why biodiversity? And why not just diversity? Because it is the wide range of living organisms, both plants and animals. Let's try to understand once again. If we take up flora, that is plant species, that flora is interrelated, sharing certain things in common. Many plant species share certain things in common. They are interrelated. And they have a range as well as relations. Second, if we take fauna, animal species, they are also interrelated. I'll give an example of interrelation. That is the herbivorous animals being eaten up by the carnivorous animals. They are interrelated. Fauna within it is interrelated. At the same time, this flora and fauna, that is all plant species and animal species, they are also interdependent. They have a relationship of interdependence as well. Animals preparing carbon dioxide for plants, plants preparing oxygen for animals, animals preparing food as decomposed material for the plant species and others, and plant species preparing food for the animal species. They have interdependence as well. So this plant species as well as the animal species, their interrelations and their interdependence, which we take in biodiversity, has also a relationship with physical environment. These plant species are not independent of the physical environment. The animal species are not independent of physical environment. They have a relationship with their physical environment as well, especially which includes water, temperature, minerals, and the soil. So these physical components are very essential for the survival of both flora and fauna with their relationships, with their interdependencies. That means whole biodiversity is dependent on its physical environment. But it's essential to understand, if we put together these flora, fauna, that is biodiversity, with its range and relations, and we adapt the physical environment with it, it will give us a new concept that we need to understand and explore. That new concept, which includes the wide range of plant species, that is flora, the wide range of animal species, that is fauna, their range as well as their interrelations and their interdependence and their dependence with that of the physical environment. It gives out us a new concept, a new term that we need to understand. That is ecosystem. So what does the ecosystem comprise of? One, flora, its range and interrelations. Second, fauna, its range and interrelations, plus interdependence of flora and fauna and their dependence with that of their physical environment. All these together compose the ecosystem. That means, if we are going to define ecosystem, ecosystem refers to the wide range of plant and animal species, their interrelations and interdependence and their dependence with that of their physical environment. They together form the ecosystem. Clear? Now, we do not take ecosystem as a small entity to discuss and to study and to conduct research. What we actually do, we take a large ecosystem in a geographical area, such as a forest zone, such as a large grassland. We take a large ecosystem for the purpose of studies, for the purpose of research. And those large ecosystems which we identify on the basis of plant species especially, for the purpose of studies, for the purpose of research, we call them as biome. So what is a biome? Biome refers to a very large ecosystem. And such a large ecosystem which is mainly identified on the basis of plant species and for the purpose of studies and research. And thereby, the whole world ecosystems have been divided on the basis of the plant species and the related animal life in those plant species. We have divided the whole world into 5 biomes. The world ecosystems have been divided into the following 5 biomes. Number 1 is the forest biome. Number 2 is the savanna. Number 3 is the grasslands. Number 4 is the deserts. Number 5 is the tundra. Dear learners, this natural vegetation, crops, wildlife and pets, that is flora and fauna, taken together as biodiversity and ecosystem as well as biome. These were a few key terms and key concepts that shall help us all through the chapter and understanding the various types of the plant species, animal species across the country, as well as the distribution and influence of man on those plant animal species, as well as their need and the way we need to conserve. Next, we shall be moving on with the chapter, and all these key concepts must be very helpful to us. Thank you dear children, thank you very much.